Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. Kindly subscribe to the channel if you're watching it for the first time. And to those who have subscribed, all our viewers and those who support us in one way or the other, I want to take this opportunity to express my heartfelt gratitude to you. Continue in the same spirit. The ongoing debate about the finance bill was supposed to be fought in 3 stages. The first stage was with the people of Kenya, what the constitution calls public participation. And when Kenyans were given a chance to express their view about the impending bill in Parliament, they made a resounding resolution. They vehemently opposed this bill, telling the government that they have not refused to pay taxes, but the timing of this bill was and is ill-motivated because Kenyans are facing one of the most financial difficult moments in the history of Kenya, and they are telling the government, wait a little bit. They are also telling the government of the day that there are thorny issues within this bill that they need to iron out before it is passed. But the government has got deaf ears. Their response is one which I call very ridiculous. Rigathi Gachagua, the deputy president, told off Kenyans that you don't need even to imagine opposing this bill because it will pass anyway. It will pass by force. Because Rigathi Gachagua says that the Kenya Kwanza has got the numbers. They got the numbers in Parliament because the first thing that they did when they ascended to power was to buy the Azimio members of Parliament, and some of those members have been compromised. They are now singing and dancing to the Kenya Kwanza tune. The government has blocked its ears and they don't want to understand the pain of the Kenyans, the concerns, pertinent issues that they need to look into before this bill is passed. They are trivializing this drama to a contest between the government and the opposition. And that is why Rigathi Gachagua is saying that they have the numbers. That was the first stage. Kenyans have made their view and they've said, we don't want this bill. The second stage is supposed to be fought in Parliament when parliamentarians will vote. The same members of Parliament who Rigathi Gachagua is bragging that they have the majority. And one thing that Rigathi Gachagua forgets is that our members of Parliament are only acting on our behalf. We have given them an opportunity to legislate on our behalf. And so when they go there, they are supposed to represent us. When we refuse to give them the green light to pass this bill, they are supposed to heed. And so we are waiting for them. Now this second stage is also being met by a lot of obstacles because yesterday when William Ruto was attending a church service in Narok, he warned the Kenya Kwanza parliamentarians who are dreaming or thinking of opposing this bill, and he told them that they will meet his wrath. It has now turned out to be a threat. They have now decided to turn to threats, threatening anyone who is opposed to this bill. And I'm wondering, there was a time this government accused the opposition of dictatorship, that they don't have an opportunity, they don't give their members of Parliament an opportunity or freedom of will. I remember when they took members of the Parliament from the opposition, when they had some luncheon in State House with people like Jalango, they accused the opposition of being selfish, that members of Parliament must be allowed to express their independent will. And I'm now wondering why the president and the deputy president are offering threats, issuing threats to the members of Parliament. Why can't they do the same? Give the members of Parliament their freedom to decide. Let the members of Parliament go back to their people and listen to them. Like Wamuchomba the other day told the president that my people have refused. They have told me not to pass this bill. That is what should happen. That is the second stage. The third stage, if it passes in Parliament as they are saying, because of course they are now issuing threats and they've got the numbers and they can compromise them, that takes us to the third stage. The third stage is with the judiciary, the courts. If the members of Parliament will pass it, we will then go to court and try to get legal redress. In fact, the Busia Senator Okiya Mutata is already in court. He has petitioned this government and he has poked holes in this government, citing, among other things, curtailing the freedom to own property, because it is like the government wants you to have houses where they have built them. They don't give you a freedom of choice where you want to buy. You could have some money and you want to own land in Busia, but they have built some in Nairobi. They are forcing you. Okiya Mutata is also saying that we are being compelled to accumulate some money in government's pool. We don't know the security of our money in a country that is riddled with a lot of corruption cases. We wake up every day to news of corruption and losing of Kenyan taxpayers' money. So Mutata is already in court. That is the third stage. I want to stop here and ask you a question. Do you trust our courts? Do you trust that we can get justice with our courts as currently constituted? Because where we are now, the only hope is the court. When the government comes with things like GMO, we run to the courts. And when the government comes in an already bloated cabinet and they want to add more, in fact 50 chief administrative secretaries, it is the courts that Kenyans run to. But do you trust the courts? If you trust the court, there is someone who has got a different opinion. Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka is saying that he's got no trust. He does not trust the courts and he does not trust the judicial processes that are going on in Kenya. Yesterday, Kalonzo was in one of the churches and he really urged Kenyans to oppose this bill, because if it goes to our courts, the courts will disappoint us. This is what Kalonzo said, and this is what is reported in the Standard newspaper. Kalonzo says, rise up and oppose taxes. Courts will betray you. That is what Kalonzo is saying. Now, Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka has said he has no confidence in courts to handle cases challenging the proposed taxes. Kalonzo, who was attending a service at African Inland Church, AIC, Kasina in Mlolongo, instead backed mass action to resist the proposed new taxes contained in the Finance Bill 2023. Of course, he was accompanied by Machakos Governor Vinya Ndeti and the Bakasi South MP Musili Mawathe. Now, this is what Kalonzo is saying. Kalonzo said, Omutata has every right to challenge anything in court. However, on taxes, I don't trust anyone. I will only trust the sound judgment of Kenyan people, because with the courts, it is possible for the petitioner or even the judges to be compromised, thereby betraying the majority of Kenyans. That is what Kalonzo said. So Kalonzo is saying that he does not trust the process of our courts. The petitioner in this case is saying Omutata or anyone who might attempt to go to court anaweza onwa kando, because this government is full of mischief. And he's saying that we need to be very careful. We should not trust the courts, because it is Kalonzo is saying that the government has already bypassed the will of the people, because the people have said they don't want this bill. The government is already bragging that they have the numbers and issuing threats to any member of parliament who might have a different opinion. And so with those two processes, it is like the two processes are a done deal. They are a mere formality. The third one, which many people think many people now are banking on, are our courts. And Kalonzo is warning that we should not bank on our courts, because the courts will disappoint us. And Kalonzo is saying that it is time for Kenyans to rise up to oppose this bill, because if we don't, then we are in for a rude shock. Remember, these members of parliament, remember our leaders don't have a problem, because they don't feel the pangs of the high cost of living. These people are on salaries. These people have got good medical covers. They can afford to take their family to the most prestigious hospitals that we ever think of. If they are sick, they will be flown abroad. They can take their children to the best schools. So when Kalonzo is urging Kenyans to rise up, it is not for his own self-aggrandizement. He is thinking of the many poor Kenyans who are going to be directly affected by this law if it is passed. And he is telling Kenyans that it is high time that we unite together. Because this bill will not choose your tribal affiliation. You will not be spared because you come from the ethnic group that Rigathi Gachagua or Mudavadi or William Ruto belongs. It will not spare you because you come from an ethnic community where Raila or Kalonzo comes from. This bill is going to affect you depending on your pocket. And so Kalonzo is saying, rise up. This is the time. Kenyans must not wait for the politician to call upon them. I've realized that when Raila Amolo Odinga has taken a backseat, he has retreated for Kenyans to see the magnitude of going to the streets, because most people are saying Raila anasumbua, because Ruto kept on telling them, give me more time to fix this economy. So Raila has taken a backseat and is now telling Kenyans, it is you to choose. If you want to give him some time to fix the economy, well and good. If you feel you are being choked and you want to go to the streets, this is the time. We can't wait for tomorrow. And this is what Kalonzo Musyoka is saying, that he does not trust the courts. If already the government is already threatening the members of parliament who are supposed to be representing us. And another thing that is happening is that Kalonzo is just sounding a warning bell to our judiciary. We don't trust these courts. From the moment they ruled in favor of an illegitimate government and used non-judicial terms like hot air, wild goose chase, the little trust that remained with these courts were eroded completely. The other day we saw the president of the courts, Madam Koome, on a Madaraka Day, appearing elegantly in a brand new Toyota sports car, Guzzler, at a time when Kenyans are suffering and we are supposed to reduce on expenses, at a time when she herself is complaining that the courts don't have enough toilets. She's complaining that they don't have enough staff. The cases there are a backlog of cases, dragging our justice. Dispensing justice is difficult in the courts because apparently we don't have sufficient funds. And so all this tells that there is a cordial relationship between the executive and the judiciary. That hinders justice. They will always rule in favor of the executive. Because William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua really are determined to see to it that this bill passes. They will not spare the courts. Already, you know that the courts and the judiciary, the courts and the executive are good friends. They've always messed together. They have messed up together. And so they have a long history of mutilating our constitution and ruling in favor of the executive. So this is what Kalonzo is saying, that we need to be very careful. The problem with Kenyans is that sometimes we don't listen, because when Rigathi Gachagua will stand up and they will start telling us that we want to fix this economy because it was messed up by the previous regime, we still tolerate blame game. We don't want to tell off this government, tell them start working, don't blame the previous regime. So ladies and gentlemen, it is high time. The ball is on our courts. Kalonzo says, let's go to the streets because we have the freedom of picketing, and that is the only language that the government listens to. It is upon you and I to reject the bill or to be hoodwinked, and that is my take.